All right, you're welcome back. This is TV3Newday, and it's time now for the big issues. It's Thursday, so it's the time for the women. And this morning we have some new faces on TV joining us for the discussion. I'm sure a lot of you were hoping to see Nanaya Chimpim Janto, the General Secretary of the CPP. Well, unfortunately, she will not be able to join us. But we also have Aisha Alasan, and she is a member of the NDC National Communications Team. Good morning to you. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Welcome.
How are you too? Thank you.
Good to see you in the studio. I hope you've had a good week.
I did.
Kind of, eh?
Kind of.
Kind of. It is well. It is well. Also, Sandra Sarkodie Ado is a Deputy National Youth Organizer for the NPP. Good to see you in the studios as well, Sandra.
Yeah, nice meeting you.
How's everything?
Yeah, everything is good.
How's your reign going as Deputy National Youth Organizer?
Well, very well.
Okay.
Yes, the NPP is a party that opens up opportunities for women. So for me, it's very good.
It is.
Yeah.
I believe you took over the reins just recently after the elections.
Yes, right.
Okay, so about how many months now?
There was in September.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so just about 5 months maybe, or 6.
Around 6, 7.
Yeah, around 6, 7. And it's going well so far?
Very well. So
Okay.
far, so good.
Interesting. We're having a conversation this morning during our introduction about some concerns that Ghanaians had raised about their SIM card registration. Remember that we had deadlines literally to go and register our SIM cards and sync it with our Ghana cards. There's some, and I don't know if you've come across those concerns by some Ghanaians, that they discovered their Ghana card had been used to register more than, the number of SIM cards that they had. So in some cases, someone said he discovered that there were 10 SIM cards that were registered with his Ghana card without his knowledge, when he had originally only registered 3 SIM cards. Have you checked since you registered? And I believe we've all registered our SIM cards on this platform. Sandra, I mean, this is a major concern. Have you checked after registering to find out how many SIM cards are linked to your Ghana card?
For me, no, I have not, because of the way the process is when you want to link your Ghana card with your SIM card. So it's actually new to me hearing this, because if you want to register, what happens is that your fingerprints are taken.
Yeah.
A picture is taken of you. So I find it quite awkward and strange.
Yeah.
To have, your Ghana card used to register other SIM that you didn't do for yourself.
Exactly.
Because I'm wondering, how did whoever come by your fingerprints? So maybe it's a problem from the telcos. So I think that everybody should go back and check. Yeah. Because if there are issues of that nature, it means that one way or the other, it's happening. We cannot rule it out. So I think everyone should go back and then check.
It's quite a scary thing, honestly, India, because if you're finding this out, I mean, the issue was that we were trying to fight criminality, which is what we were told. So if now I'm discovering later that there are people who can have access to my Ghana card details when we're told that it's sacrosanct, and they can use that to register SIM cards and perpetrate all kinds of fraudulent activities, then that's a major problem, is it not?
It is. It's a very big problem. I came across the story on Facebook. Kofi Adumawawani posted it on his Facebook page, I think, yes. And a friend reshared it, so I saw it, shared it, so I saw it. And he also had that challenge. I think he had about 3 other names or 4 names in his name on his SIM. And it's a bit worrying, because this has raised a lot of eyebrow, because we are beginning to wonder if we are indeed, being asked to get our SIM cards registered to fight crime, because that's the basic motive for the registration of the SIM cards. And we've been so much in a hurry to do this, forgetting about the other effects it can bring to us. Because if we had really gone out to start the SIM card registration with all the processes laid down accurately, trying to check the possibility of double registrations and all that, I don't think we would have gotten where we are. So it's telling us that we did things haphazardly, and that is why we are here. Because to have your SIM card in the name of other people, it shows clearly that somebody can commit a crime and you can be blamed for it. When in fact you have no idea what the whole crime is about. So this is a very serious issue that government must take steps to address. I think if there is a short code that we can all access, so that we open our phones, we enter that short code, then we'll know that, okay, my SIM is registered in my name and only my name, and not in any other person's name.
We've been assured of a short code that should be available sometime in April. We heard from Engineer Ken Ashigbe. He's the CEO of the NCA, yes.
Brilliant.
And he says that there'll be a short code.
Brilliant. I think this thing should have happened way back before today, because who knows? Crime might have been committed in the past, and, you know, people have fallen victims to this double registration and names, other names being on your SIM card and all that. So I think if Ken Ashigbe, if he has promised us to provide us with a short code, then it's a step in the right direction.
Absolutely.
That's what we are all looking for.
Absolutely.
We can't be walking with our legs, sleeping with our legs outside.
Sandra, I mean, when I did say that the Engineer Ken Ashigbe had assured us we're going to get a SIM, you said that was a step in the right direction.
Of course. Perfect. Yeah, because looking at where we are now, okay, I think that it will be best. An issue of this nature, it's of national concern. So I would plead with everyone to exercise a little patience whilst this is being resolved and not politicize it. Because I know at some point what will happen is that it will be politicized. And before you know, everything gets messy and nothing is achieved.
But who's going to politicize it?
It's always been like that, Bella. You know this for a fact.
Are we all not guilty of it then?
Before you know, an opposition party will say that, okay, NPP brought it to fight crime. Now look at what is happening and it's being politicized. But this is a human institution. And it is in the good of all Ghanaians. That was why this was brought up, to fight crimes and also to ensure that if anybody is involved in any fraudulent activity, the person could be caught and held responsible. So with what has been released, that they are going to work on it, I think it's perfect.
But there were calls against even this re-registration exercise in the first place, because a lot of people came up with concerns about it and said there was no need for us to re-register our SIMs when we had done it already. And besides, you already have the data sitting with the telcos. We have the data sitting with the NIA. All you need to do is to merge the data so that those who, for some reason, are not able to have their data merged, they can go to these telcos and register their SIMs, especially for those who had bought new SIMs, had to change their number. Did you listen to these? Because could we not have avoided all these challenges if we had not gone ahead with the re-registration?
Yes, but you see, with every decision taken, there are the pros and the cons. Now, most of us had already re-registered. But the other thing too is that a lot of people had their SIM card registered by friends and family. Now, if there is a new re-registration that I could be held liable or responsible, I'll think twice before registering for you. Because I remember after SHS, when I had wanted to register, I went to the SIM vendor and I didn't have my ID then. So a stranger was like, oh, you want to register for a SIM? I was like, yeah, okay, let me do it for you. Someone who didn't know me from Adam was willing to do that for me without even thinking, what's she going to do with the SIM, what's going to happen. So a lot of people had their details registered that were not of theirs. So it's just like going on a merry-go-round. Now there is a problem, you try to solve it and then you run in circles. So now let's open a clean sheet. Now, we are using Ghana card. There has been some level of education. Everyone knows that, okay, if I'm using my Ghana card to register for you, it means that I'll be held liable.
Okay.
Yes, so that stops people from re-registering for others. And also to get accurate data. There are people, maybe, let's say you, Bella, want to send you mobile money, I'll send and end up seeing a name like Mary Akosia. Meaning that you used Mary Akosia's ID to register yours. So it's just a corrective measure and process to clean the system and make sure that bearers of every SIM card are the true owners of the SIM card.
So now that we still have SIM cards that are being registered with some of these Ghana cards, that defeats the whole agenda of trying to ensure that we have bearers whose SIM cards were linked to their Ghana cards.
Not entirely.
How so?
Yes, because you see, there are challenges with every decision. Nothing is perfect. As we sit in the studio, maybe along the line the AC might go off. That doesn't mean that there was no due diligence. So with every decision and with everything that is being done, there are challenges. This has been the identified challenges. And as assured, it's going to be worked on.
Okay.
So I think there shouldn't be any panic attack. We should relax. There'll be possibly there'll be short code release that you can check from the comfort of your homes, and we are good to go.
Well, let's move on now and talk about something else. And I'm sure that later we'll delve into this matter properly and get all the details that we require, at least for those of you who are also very much concerned about this. And I believe every Ghanaian should be. But there's a conversation that's been brewing all week, and we've touched on it a couple of times. There's a new dimension to it now, and it borders around the statements that the Minister of Agric, Honorable Brian Champon, had made during some event with party people in the eastern region. Now, following up on that comment, of course, the NDC's legal team decided to petition the CID and the IGP over these comments. And they said that these comments, of course, were dangerous, they were reckless, they were instigating and unparliamentary, and the CID needed to take a stand on this matter and invite him for questioning. Now, there seems to be a turnaround in all of this because the NPP as well have also come out asking for former President John Dramani Mahama, and not just him, but the party chairman, Asiedu Nketia, to also be petitioned by the Criminal Investigations Department or called to answer some questions concerning some comments that they had made. Well, Mr. Mahama, prior to the 2020 general election, said the NDC will face the NPP boot for boot if the NPP continues to intimidate NDC members with hoodlums and vigilante groups. And he also said the upcoming 2024 elections will be a do-or-die affair for the NDC. This is what the national organizer of the NPP, Henry Nana Boakye, has put together and sent through a petition with, to the CID. And they're saying that these conducts are contrary to sections 180 and 207 of the Criminal Offences Act. He's not the only one. Like I mentioned, also we have General Asiedu Nketia, who is now the chairman of the party, and he says that on the part of Johnson Asiedu Nketia, he repeatedly threatened fire and brimstone to ensure the victory of the NDC in the 2024 general elections, disclosing that the elections shall be bloody, according, of course, to Nana Boakye, and that his party was willing and ready to sacrifice lives to ensure their victory in 2024. This is a statement that he made after he had won the chairmanship position for the NDC. And there are a lot of concerns about this. And maybe, Sandra, I'll start off with you. I mean, there's one angle that's saying that what the Honorable Agric Minister said was totally wrong, and maybe he should come out and apologize. And he's been asked to also, or the CID have been asked to petition him and ask him questions. Why are we turning things around and now bringing in the issue about former President Mahama and also the chairman of the NDC?
Okay, so this is it. From the comment of the Honorable Minister, Honorable Brian Champon, he stated, and there was a clause that if, anytime there is an if, it means that if this happens, this is going to happen. If this doesn't happen, then there is no issue. He said that if the NDC, so why should the NDC be bothered if they don't have, bad intentions? As we are seated here, and TV3 decides to issue a communique stating that if you are seen on our premises after 12 a.m., you will be arrested. Why should I be bothered from my house if I don't have intentions of, coming into your premises after 12 a.m.? And you see, his statement had to do with the fact that he mentioned that we have the men. That has nothing to do with crime. NPP, from the word go, have been saying that we have the men. We have the men. Even when there was COVID, the NDC started making a joke out of it. And even most media houses that, NPP says that they have the men, yet the economy is going down. What he meant by we having the men is that we have people who are capable of doing the work. Yes, our inflation and the economy and everything went quite bad during the COVID era, during the Russia-Ukraine war, and currently things are getting better. That is the definition. That is the spirit behind saying we have the men. Now to his comments, it's not of anything bad or evil to say or anything that's supposed to cause chaos. He just stated that if the NDC have the intention of coming into the elections with routes and all those things, we have the men. So I don't get the argument of the NDC. I think they should come again. And then looking at the petition from our national organizer, Lawyer Henry Nana Boakye, if you are looking at the comments of ex-President Mahama, for me, I find it quite unfortunate because he's a statesman. And he's supposed to put up a certain posture that will encourage the younger ones and the younger generation to even be mindful of the kind of things they say. As a statesman, you can go about saying boots for boots, you know.
But did he not say that in response to some action that had taken place or some concerns that Ghanaians had about vigilante groups, which is why he said that we'll match them boots for boots?
As a statesman, he should have even suggested it should end instead of boots for boots.
Okay.
An elder does not sit in the house and watch the children fight and kill themselves. If we are counting killers in the house, the elder will be mentioned as one. So as a statesman, his posture should have been that of peace. Okay, this is what has been identified. Now, as an ex-president, this is how I think things should go. And not to say boot for boot, how do we call it? Boot for boot and then
do or die.
Do or die, exactly. Yeah. Nobody is dying in Ghana. NPP needs.
But he has explained what he meant by the do or die and the fact that we're going into an election. And he was just saying that we're going to do everything possible to ensure that we win, as long as we're not taking knives to kill anybody or guns to shoot at anybody. And he explained this just yesterday as well, that that's what he meant by that statement. So does it look like you are equalizing just because of the statements that the Agric Minister made and the fact that the NDC's legal team says we need to petition the CID to start questioning him? Is that why you're bringing all this back?
No, you see, there is nothing like an equalization here. Let's get it right.
Okay.
There is nothing like an equalization here. And the case by Henry Nana Boakye is justifiable. Look at the comments by the youth organizer who said if we have to kill to win election, of the NDC youth organizer, if we have to kill to win the election. Listen to the comments by the general secretary of the NDC, which is heading towards violence. And don't forget, there is no timeline in relation to criminal issues. There is no timeline. Even if someone decides to even petition the courts or write to the courts in next 10 years, there are no timelines. So people shouldn't make it look like, you know, we are trying to justify what Honorable Brian said, or we are trying to equalize. No, 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 no.
So you're saying he didn't do anything wrong with the statement that he made?
No.
He didn't?
There is nothing wrong with that.
So let me just read some parts. Okay, let me just read a bit of what he said. That NDC party will collapse. Hold on. I'll come to you. Yes, I'm hoping that my producers will pull it up. But let me just read the quoted parts as well while my producers try to pull up that tape. So NDC party will collapse if the NDC dares to use threats, violence and foolishness in the 2024 elections. We'll let them know we have the men. We will show them that we have the men. Then he says it will never happen that we, the NPP, will stand on a platform to hand over power to the NDC. It will never happen. We'll make sure NPP remain in government at all costs. That's final two lines that I said. What does it mean at all cost? Let's listen to the video quickly, or watch the video, and then we'll come back. All right. So that's Honorable Brian A. Champon, the Minister for Agric, and this is a statement that he made in Impriaso in the Eastern region to some party delegates. Yeah. You're saying that there's nothing wrong with the statement that he made?
There is absolutely nothing wrong with it. You see, the problem comes in when people want to extract some part of the information. He was building on a point. Okay. And he started by saying that, yes, after we took over from NDC, things were getting better. Till coronavirus came in, till Russia-Ukraine war, and then at some point things got bad. And that had been the campaign message of the opposition party, because they felt that, okay, things are not going well for NPP now. They promised to do things well, and things are not going well. So that had been their campaign message. Even currently, as ex-president, Mahama is going around. What is he saying? He's only talking about what has gone wrong with the economy, and now things are picking up. So rationally, what he meant to say is, now things went bad, things are picking up. So the NDC will have no message. The NDC have no campaign message.
Things are picking up?
Yes.
How so?
Yes, you can look at our current inflation. It's now 45%.
Okay, but that's not any better, is it?
It's getting better.
But that's not any better if we're looking at inflation at this point. So if you say that things are getting better, I mean, we're still at the mercy of the IMF, still looking for that $3 billion deal that's supposed to save our economy. We are not even sure when we're going to get this money. So if you say things are getting better, I mean, we can't just use inflation to peg it and say that because inflation is just 45%, things are getting better. Don't you think so?
You see, now, when it comes to issues of economy, what are the determining factors? It's inflation. That has to do with cost of goods, how prices have shot up. That is what affects every Ghanaian, day in, day out activities. Now, it went higher, and then at some point, it's now at 45%.
Okay.
Even though it is not the best, but that is an indicator that we are on the right track, and things are getting better. So what he meant to say is, now things are getting better. So the NDC absolutely has no campaign message. Very soon, the IMF money will be released, things will get perfect, and trust me, the NDC party is going to collapse. So because what are they going to say?
If you feel they don't have any message, then why go make a statement that you are not going to hand over power to the NDC at all costs? Doesn't it then also mean that you also are worried that the NDC could take over power, which is why you're going to do everything that you can just to hold on to power?
You see, in politics, you do not underestimate your opponents. That's a plain fact. Even if you are contesting against a child, you don't underestimate the child. And that is what we should know.
Okay.
We are not scared of the NDC, but we will do our best as a political party. We will do our campaigns, we will sell our messages, we will tell the Ghanaian what we have. In fact, we don't need to say, most of them are visible for them to see. I don't need to tell anybody about free SHS. I don't need to tell anybody.
The students are hungry, they don't have food.
Well, those are other challenges we could discuss moving forward.
Okay.
But currently, there are projects that we could look at. So we don't need to even say the Ghanaians have witnessed it.
What have they witnessed exactly?
They've witnessed the good work of President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
Ghanaians have witnessed that?
A man of his word.
Recently, domestic debt exchange program. Did you see how angry Ghanaians were because they were losing their savings, they were losing their investments? And you still think that Ghanaians think that the NPP has done a good job?
The NPP has done a very good job.
That's from your angle?
It's not from my angle.
Okay, so you're saying this based on what's feedback?
Based on the fact that, now, we are all aware of the global pandemic. It wasn't only in Ghana. Let's look at Nigeria. They do mass oil production, but people even queue to buy fuel. In Ghana, we do not queue to buy fuel. In the midst of all these things, at least, lives have been sustained.
Nigeria is not at the IMF, are they?
No, they are not.
Exactly. So if you're comparing us to Nigeria, they are not at the IMF begging for $3 billion to rescue the economy.
Is it the first time you are going to IMF?
But should we be going to the IMF at every point?
The issue is, what are the challenges? It's not as though there are no issues, there are no challenges, and we are just rushing to the IMF. NPP has been in power for over 4 years. Before this global pandemic, did we run to the IMF?
You received 21 billion Ghana cedis and over during the COVID pandemic. We saw the Auditor General's report on how the funds were mismanaged largely. And you still think that Ghanaians are happy with how the NPP has managed the economy? When we had close to what we're going to look for, maybe just a little above that, we had that money. We couldn't even use that money to fix the economy. And we think that going back to the IMF to ask for another $3 billion is going to fix the economy at this point. Do you think Ghanaians trust the NPP enough to fix the economy when they are the same people who have mismanaged the economy?
You see, the Ghanaians spoke in 2020, and they are going to speak again in 2024.
Okay.
There was COVID before the election, and they still voted for us. So that should tell you that they have hope in the NPP, because NPP is the party that thinks of them, that thinks of the ordinary Ghanaians. We are faced with challenges. So let's not act as though nothing is going wrong and then our economy isn't too well. Ghanaians are very, they never forget. As ex-President Mahama said that Ghanaians are very forgetful. No, they never forget.
Okay.
Ghanaians are learned.
Okay.
They understand issues.
All right. Let's play that video, the lengthy part of the video of what Honorable Brian Champon said in particular. The earlier one we played was really short. So take a look at what exactly he said. We'll bring in Lydia so she can also tell us what she thinks.
Every party has 2024 now. The veterans say we have the ban. The veterans
All right. So here we go. This is the reason the NDC's legal team petitioned the CID. And now the NPP too is saying that, well, if you're saying we've made certain statements that were reckless, your former president has also made even more reckless statements, and your national chairman as well. What do you say?
Ella, it's a joke of the century to have the youth organizer of the NPP heading to, is it the IGP, to report our former president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. It's the most funniest thing I've heard in few days.
Why do you say that?
It's funny. You know, truth is one. And those who beat war drums, they usually don't live to see the end of the war. Brian Champong had a very good opportunity to be on stage to address NPP supporters. And what did he do? He incited them. Not only incited them, he made a bold statement to claim the NDC can't be handed over power. Not if they win, not if they lose, but if they try to show that they are men. Kind of. I'm trying to paraphrase what he said. I don't know how to translate it into the English directly. But to paraphrase him, that's what he said. He didn't say that we are not going to hand over power to the NDC if they lose the elections. Let's get that clear. You see, what Brian did was what I call empty bravado, probably born out of the presence of party foot soldiers. He was so carried away, he saw party foot soldiers, and instead of using the opportunity that he got to discuss food security, his new position, and telling us how food security can be enhanced to give the NPP an upper hand in the 2024 elections, he decided to chant war and beat war drums during the Easter festivities. Like, it should have been an opportunity, at least give us an Easter message. Tell us how you are going to use your newfound ministry or your new ministry to enhance development as far as Agrek is concerned, so that it can give your party an advantage to win the 2024
You don't tell him what
elections.
he should talk about when he's meeting his people.
Exactly.
But, I don't tell him what to do when he meets, but that was the best thing he could have done as a newly appointed Agric minister. And not to beat war drums like some, how was he beating war drums? He was beating war drums, Bella, because like I told you earlier, there was nowhere that any person in the NDC has come out to say, look, we are going to, into 2024 elections to fight, to, fly machetes and to bring our people to fight to win the elections.
Neither did he also say that they were going to use any weapons to fight elections.
No, but even
Hold on. I'll let you come in.
When you were speaking, I was
all
quiet.
right, that's fine.
Bella, are we trying to say we needed him to say it verbatim that I'm going to use
you are
machetes?
saying that no NDC member has come out to say we're going to use machetes or any other weapon to fight. And
so
I'm saying
we
that if
haven't-
that's your basis of argument,
No.
then
No.
we cannot also say that any MPP person came out and said we're going to use guns or machetes to win the elections.
I'm saying that to make a point.
Okay.
I'm saying that to make a point. So relax for me.
Okay.
We've not come out to preach violence. That's basically what I'm trying to say. We've not come out to preach violence, to warrant the attacks and the war drums Brian Champon went to Kwawu to beat. There hasn't been any statement whatsoever to warrant that statement. So look, Brian Champon just made a statement because he has been emboldened by his flag bearer, his President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. He has been boldened by Lord Comey. He has again been boldened by the fact that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has refused to bring him to book for being indicted in the Ayawaso West Wuogon committee sitting.
He says
the
he had
report.
nothing to do with it.
He's been indicted.
He said
The committee indicted him.
We heard him during his vetting.
So he said he has got nothing to do with it.
I think
and the same person,
Sandra, hold on,
the
please.
same
She should read the
person
white paper.
who is trying to clear his name has come out publicly to beat war drums. Are we to believe him that indeed he has nothing to do with it?
But if that's the case, okay, let's take a look at something that the former president, John Dramani Mahama, also said, which is included in that petition that the national organizer for the NPP has sent to the CID. Take a look.
For everyone that we arrested, one ballot paper, about 100 we didn't arrest. And you me assure say there was a lot of stuffing of the ballot boxes. We share BVR machine also, now share ballot papers or box. Ballot papers no better also change number or BVR also. And it was a very election what you say you understand, but Supreme Court say neko answer into yajetum for the peace of this nation. You now recognize this your man Penine Nana Akufo-Addo. He is the recognized leader. We've accepted the Supreme Court judgment. But the point is, yes, the BABCP now audition answer. Yes, the 2020 answer. Elections, no, it will be won or lost at the polling station.
I see.
And the polling station, they better do or die. Because all die be die. They better do or die. The right thing must be done.
2024.
2024 polling station, and you better win the election. No. Yan train and ma yan kase collation center and at the Supreme Court debut. Collation center and a polling station home. We will do everything to make sure that the election is free, transparent, and fair. Young person here NPP for we don't want to cheat them. Yes, young person will be able to my banning young French not near Ghana for penal. Near Ghana for.
Okay, so that is former President John Dramani Mahama, and that's what he also had to say. And the do-or-die statements that he made, the NPP says that, well, if you're saying that what Brian Champon did was, inciting the youth, then it's equal to what we're seeing the former president also say.
Bella, let me read out the meaning of do or die.
Okay.
It's an idiomatic expression. I want to read the meaning to you before we proceed.
You mean me or the viewers?
To
everybody.
all viewers,
Okay.
including my sister here.
Please go ahead.
It is said when you are in a situation in which you must take a big risk in order to avoid failure. Used to describe a critical situation where one's actions may result in victory or defeat. How is this equal to all die be die? How is this equal to if they think we are going to hand over power to them, then they should forget it? How is this equal to that? I just read the meaning of do or die.
I wish you would have read the meaning of all die be die as well, since you're
Okay.
saying that it's also an idiomatic expression. Just so we can also put that side by side and see how that goes. But maybe you can still make your point if it's possible. Can you go ahead?
Okay. So, and the tape you just played, John Dramani Mahama has explained it clearly what he meant by do or die. It is clear. He is a gentleman. We all know, you will admit that when it comes to being gentle, he is number one. He can never stand anywhere to incite people to go and fight, fly machetes, or do anything violent just because we want to win elections. He stated clear that we are going to do what is right. Nobody should cheat the other in the elections. Is that not what he said? He has explained what he meant by do or die. That has been backed by the meaning in the dictionary. So if today Brian Champon has gone to make all those reckless statements, he has stated explicitly that they are not going to hand over power to the NDC. He didn't say if the NDC lose. He didn't say if we lose, he is not going to hand over power. He said he is not going to stand on a podium and hand over power to the NDC. And that's NCDA. It will never happen. There was no condition attached to that particular side.
But he made a statement ahead and said that if you come with violence,
we will make, yes, so
and all that.
He said if you come with violence, if we come with violence, and it has got nothing to do with our loss or our win, why should you say you won't stand and hand over power to us?
So is there not a conditionality?
No, it's not a conditionality. Where is the connection?
Okay.
Because you didn't tell us that if we lose the elections, you are not going to hand over power to us. You told us if we come with violence. And you know how violence can happen. Violence can happen if we win and you decide not to give to us. Or?
You tell me.
Yes, if we win and you decide not to hand over power to us, there can be... Probably that is what Brian is thinking of doing. And he's already anticipated the NDC would engage in a violent action because he and his cohorts have decided not to give out power to the NDC.
Why would they not want to give out power if
that is
indeed
best
they lose?
known to Brian.
Why would they do that?
That is because he has said it. He said we are not going to hand over power to the NDC. If they think we are going to stand on a podium and hand over power to the NDC, then it's a lie. It will never happen. The word never in quotes, meaning whether you win or lose, power won't be handed over to you. It's as simple as that. Let's not try to give it all sort of interpretations, because at every point in time, NPP communicators try to give the whole statement different kind of interpretations. That's why I started by saying truth is one. If truth is not one, they wouldn't be giving it different interpretations. He's here telling us that what Brian said, there is everything okay with what... Yes, she's telling us what Brian said, there is everything okay with it, and that if Brian says they are not going to hand over power to the NDC, it's in the right direction, and that it will never happen, that they will hand... In that particular statement, he never said that if the NDC loses the elections. He said if they bring violence, we are never going to hand over power to them. Then, so probably in your mind, you have decided to spark something that will bring violence, so that when we win the elections, you decide to hold on to power and not hand over. It is clear what Brian is trying to do. But you see, it is so funny that they are now bringing in the do or die issue. If it's really a treasonable comment, as they are now trying to make us believe, why didn't they push it then and now? Why? It is just some cheap equalization they are trying to make. And the issue of Esiedun Ketia, I have not seen the video, but I've heard a video of that sort came out. And you know, it came from one of their key communicators. Is it Miracle Abuaji?
Of what your party chairman said?
He posted it on his wall. Then he was alerted. His mind was drawn to the video, that it was a doctored video. He pulled it down, came back, and apologized that he had it wrong. The original video is far different from the doctored video, and that it is clearly a doctored tape. It has been put together because the original video is there. And that is what I know my sister here is trying to clinch on.
So he never said that they're prepared to sacrifice everything for the 2024 elections?
Go to the wall of Dennis Abuaji.
I saw the apology from Dennis. I have seen that.
And subsequently has apologized for that.
So what exactly did the chairman say?
That's why I said I have not taken the trouble to listen to what he said.
Okay.
But clearly, from all indication, he said nothing of that sort. From all indication, which their own key communicator, Dennis Abuaji, has acknowledged. that he has heard the original video, and there was nowhere, no part in the video that incited Ghanaians and said there was going to be a bloodshed. There was nowhere.
But this statement is included in the petition from the national organizer of the NPP to the CID.
What makes it ridiculous. So you see, it's all part of the fabrication and the equalization. Now, Brian has made a reckless statement, a statement that is exposing their agenda and intention towards the 2024 elections. So, to make it look like Brian was responding to something, let's fabricate a story. Let's doctor a tip to make it look like this is what Brian
That's your
Champon
assumption.
was.
That's your assumption.
That is not my assumption.
That's
I'm telling
your
you
assumption.
that the tip that they are making reference to is fake. It is not an assumption. It is a fact.
We'll try and find this video.
Find
I
it.
will
Their
show
own
it.
communicator has come out to apologize subsequently after posting it. Their own communicator has come out to apologize. So what are we talking about here?
Okay. Well,
Bella, what are we talking about here? It is a fabricated story. It is a doctored tape that they put out just to equalize the reckless statements made by Brian.
okay, let's go back
And
to
you
what
know
the former president said then. So because now the CID has been petitioned, would he honor that invitation if he's invited?
That I can't answer for him now.
Should he? From where you sit?
From where I sit, he should honor the invitation.
Okay.
But until Brian Champon is called and questioned,
Okay.
until he is called and questioned and brought to book, I don't see the reason why he should.
When you say
honor
brought
that
to book, what are you expecting?
I'm expecting that his statement will be queried and the necessary actions will be taken.
Okay.
There are laws governing this country. You can't go about making treasonable comments and getting away with it.
Okay.
Such comments coming from people like Brian Champon are what is what brings about wars in various countries, including our country. Our country is not an exception. It
Okay.
can be plunged into war anytime. And Bella, I'm pleading with all well-meaning Ghanaians, the key stakeholders who at every point in time when there is an election would want to call the flag bearers to a meeting to sign a peace pact, to voice out and tell Brian in the face that he made a reckless comment, that he should apologize to the people of Ghana. Because we can't sit down and look on for Brian to make such a reckless statement, then we try to use some flimsy reasons to equalize
Okay.
the statement that he has made. And at the end of the day, you call His Excellency John Dramani to come and sign peace pact.
Okay.
Once you have told us that you are not going to ensure that there is peace in this election, you are not going to hand over power. Even if we win, then there will be no need to sign a peace pact.
Okay,
And
hold
these voices should rise up and talk to him.
Let's speak to Dennis Miracles Abuaje. He's on the phone right now. He's a presidential staffer. Dennis, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Bella. How are we doing?
I'm good, thank you very much. How are you doing as well?
I'm good. I'm doing
So
well.
I saw your apology for a video that you posted and subsequently had to pull down. Can you tell us a bit about that and what exactly led to you having to apologize eventually?
Okay, Bella, good morning to your viewers. So yes, I am. You know, as we try to build this our democracy, it is on the basis of idea sharing and competitive or superior policies and views. And so for me, my position is that as politicians, we should always strive to put out only the facts and make a case on the basis of the truth and the facts. Anything less of that, I am not going to be part. So yes, I put up a video. The comments made by the national chairman of the NDC in the video were very distasteful, and I made a very important point around the fact that the NDC have the penchant of bullying all of us in the political space, and then they are quick to complain. But the challenge is that in that video that I shared, there was a particular part of that video that I didn't know that had been doctored.
Which part exactly?
So the national chairman said that he's assuring the party that they are going to do everything. They will do everything, and that they will sacrifice everything. And then he repeated, I repeat, sacrifice everything including our lives. But then the video that I shared, it had been doctored and then the hour had been taken out. And so it sounded, we sacrifice everything, including life.
Okay.
What I apologize for is not the fact that the video was not distasteful. It is distasteful in every sense. But of course, if the hour has been removed, then of course I have to play the video that has the hour. Then I can still make my point. So my position on the matter still remains. The fact of the matter is that if you say you are going to go into an election, it is not a life sacrificial venture. It is a sharing of ideas, proposal of policies for the people to believe in your ideas and policies, and then they will vote for you. And if you say you are going to sacrifice life, even if it is your own life and not my life, the only way you are going to sacrifice your life is when you go on a suicidal mode or you put out violence. Because if there's no violence, there's no way you are going to. There's no violence, there's no way you are even going to lose your life or another person going to lose their life. So I want to put it into proper context. I remain very, very sincere in all my engagements. My position is that our conversation should be based on facts, in spite of what it is. But that does not mean that the national chairman of the NDC did not say that they are going to sacrifice everything. They will sacrifice everything in the election 2024, including their lives.
Okay.
It is not different. It is not different in any way from saying that you sacrifice other people's lives. Because the only way your life will be sacrificed is when you put it on the line and risk other people's as well.
But why are we now bringing all this back at this point when, of course, the legal team for the NDC is asking that Mr. Brian A. Champon be brought to book? Is it a form of equalization?
Not necessarily. For me, I think that I have consistently made a point that the NDC are only crying at this time because for the first time they have seen a new order, a new MPP that is standing up to the political belief we've had in our politics, our body politics. Almost every single leader of the NDC, even preceding the 2020 elections, have been preaching violence. And since the 2020 elections, the members of the NDC, their communicators, their leaders, they have consistently been preaching violence.
In what way exactly?
We are of the view, we in the MPP are of the view that some of these things sometimes we say, they are only bragging. And so we try not to place so much premium on it.
Dennis, in what way have they been preaching violence?
See, there's a video, Bella. When I finish the conversation, I'll share it to you and Dan, the production team, we can play later. By the leading communication team member of the MPP, Alhaji Nasiru, saying that the 2024 elections will be bloody. The former president and the presumptive candidate of the NDC, former President John Mahama, has said that they are from revolutionary route and that for them as a political party, there is no political party in Ghana that knows how to unleash violence than them. It's a video. It is on record. He has also gone to say that they are going to go into election 2024 with the principle of do or die. Now, they are giving us a lecture on the dictionary meaning of do or die. But if we bring do or die into our local interpretation, it simply means owo wunkwankwa. The only way somebody will say owo wunkwankwa is that he is ready to go suicidal. And once you put your life on the line to go suicidal in an election, other people are surely going to lose their life.
But he said it himself that it's not as if he's asking for us to bring, all kinds of, sticks and whatever, guns to kill. That's not what he meant when he said do or die, like the MPP is interpreting.
So did Brian mean he was going to bring guns to come and kill people when he said, if you bring violence, we'll show you we have the men?
What do you mean by you hand over power?
If you bring violence, we have systems and laws in this country. That could also be used to contain your violence. So why is the assumption around we have the men being violent retaliation?
But that part where he says that we will not hand over power to the NDC in SIDA, is that not?
It is conditional. Remember, there was a preceding comment. The preceding comment was that we are going to fix the economy. And that the challenge is to be fixed by the time we get to election 2024. And that if all these things stabilize, the NDC party will collapse. But if the NDC decides to go into the election 2024 with violence, intimidation, and foolishness, then we are going to show them we have the men. And that we are not going to stand on any platform to hand over power to them. It means that if you don't come into the elections with violence, if you don't come into the elections with intimidation, and you win the elections through the ballot, nobody is going to take it away from you. There is no way in Brian's comments where he said that if the NDC wins the elections, we will not hand over power to you.
Okay. All right.
He never said that.
All right.
So,
thank you so much.
Thank you to the production team for making us clarify this. I still insist that nobody should doctor anybody's audio or video.
Okay.
We should put out the issues as they are. I stand by the apology. I have no shame whatsoever about it. I shared that video without realizing that it was doctored.
Okay.
And so I apologize. But
All right.
it doesn't take away the fact that the statement the Mosquito made is still out there.
All
and
right.
He said
Noted.
that he's going to sacrifice everything,
Noted.
including their life.
Thank you,
in the
Dennis.
election 2020.
Thank you, Dennis Miracles Abuaje. He is a presidential staffer. We'll come back and talk some more. I mean, we'll talk about inflation and some data that the IMF has put out concerning Ghana's debt to GDP and where it is expected to reach by end of 2023. Don't go anywhere. Keep watching.